Out there, everyone. Thomas Sakowitz here from Universal Solutions and Hugs. I hope you're all having an excellent day out there today. The first thing I wanted to talk about is the overall kind of like reading for the energy this week. Got the 33rd gene key or gate or hexagram in the I Ching, and what this is really about is in the I Ching it's called retreat, in the gene keys it's called revelation. And I think that this is really appropriate because what this has to do with is basically this collective forgetting of who we really are and who our true soul identity, or even beyond this to kind of the source creator level. And that is a big theme of what I feel is going on in the energies right now, and in what we're all being guided to and being shown, and kind of the central theme for the lunar and the solar eclipse coming up here. So basically the sun and Mars are both going to be going over this 33rd gate this week, and what I think this is really showing is how we can bring our soul and our daily actions, our drive, our creative ambition into alignment. And what this starts with is remembering really who we truly are, because what we've been coming to realize is if we don't come from a place of knowing, of a deep place of knowing and recognizing our position as creators, collective co-creators of this collective dream, and creators individually of our own reality, the hologram that we're experiencing around us. If we don't come from this place of knowing, then all of our actions are going to be out of alignment, right? Because what's really happening here is if we place any sort of power, let's say, outside of us, whether that be a god or a government or relationship, food is a huge one, all these different sorts of things. If we don't recognize we are the creator, we are the source of all of this this kind of grand dream and illusion that we see around us, placing the power outside of us, then our actions start to be aligned with all sorts of different things. We are being called to look at the motives behind everything that we're doing in our life. We see, like, for example, right, if we put this power into money, right, this has been a big one that we've been tapping into recently, then we may be motivated to do different things simply for money, not because they're in alignment with our higher identity, our soul's mission, or the collective, but just because we feel like we need money, not recognizing that we are the creators of this, that the abundance actually only comes from within us. These digits in our bank accounts, and the idea of, you know, there being some finite limited resource of money, or that we need to work to and go out and get it and make it happen, is all just a farce, a trick that we've created as we put the power outside of ourselves. And the same goes for any sort of motivation for these different actions we have, whether it's obligation, we feel like we have to do this, we don't have a choice to do these certain things because it's the rules, or it's what we've been told to do by our parents or our family, or different things like this, or whatever it is. So this is a big part of what's being called for us, I feel like, right now, is to look at the motives behind our actions. Let's see. mindful motivations. Yeah, what acts are truly worthwhile? This is a big theme for this week. We have access to infinite abundance in every moment, but where are we going to put that? Where are we going to choose to direct this energy and embody it through our actions? So, one of the big aspects that's going on this week is Uranus on August 3rd is about to go, or is going to go retrograde, okay? And it's going retrograde on the third gate, or the third gene key, which has to do with, and it's in Aries, so this has to do with initiating and starting things, innovations, basically our inner child, how we can innovate and play like a game with our creation, with this co-creative dream and this reality and this hologram that we are all part of. So this is a big thing, right? We've been going through these heavy periods of ascending, which has to do with Uranus, ascending higher and higher and higher to these different levels of seeing who we truly are. And at the highest level, we've been moving through these different archetypes, seeing how they work within the psyche, embodying more aspects of ourselves, doing the deep work to be able to make these jumps and these leaps towards knowing. And now, as the Uranus is about to go retrograde, I feel like what this is showing is basically giving us a time this month, through these eclipses coming up, to really kind of sit back and start to look again at these motivations, look at what's going on, coming from this place of knowing, okay, I am the creator, I'm the co-creator of this reality. I'm starting to realize my true identity in all of this, and that really, truly anything is possible. So if that's the case, what is really in alignment? How do I fit into this puzzle? What brings me this unimaginable joy and bliss in a moment-to-moment level, and how can we use this creative capacity to innovate and create the most beautiful, exquisite dream with all of these other aspects of myself that I'm seeing reflected in the reality around me, with nature, with our highest source? Because what this has been showing us truly is that what we perceive to be outside of ourselves, this everything, the computer, the camera that I'm talking to, everybody who's watching this right now, nature especially is a big one. This is our extended body. Everything we see outside of ourselves is our extended self. That this is source, what we're experiencing. The internal is the external, right? The physical and spirit are one and the same. So if this is the case, how can we come from this childlike, innocent, innovative state of just having the most magical, fun, inspired experience, right? And so Uranus on this third gene key is having a quintile to Jupiter on the 57th. And quintiles represent basically where we are powerfully driven in our lives, okay? And Jupiter, of course, is this massive, abundant planet representing expansion and wisdom. And the 57th gene key, where it's stationed in Libra, represents it's unease, intuition, and clarity. So there's this, you may have been feeling kind of this overall general sense of unease in your life, or even notice it in the quote-unquote the world around you, and different things that are going on around the world. And this unease comes from this kind of fear that there's no inherent order, right? That there's no one in quote-unquote control of everything that we see. So we have this kind of like unease going on of like, what's about to happen? We all feel this shift that's going on. In what is it that's about to take place? This fear of the unknown, right? But if we drop out of our minds and we drop into the solar plexus, the heart, the feeling spaces, we can start to become guided by our intuition. We can start to tap into the messages that all of the aspects are the reality, are reflections, nature especially, in a moment by moment basis, is guiding us, is giving us that clarity of what it is that we're supposed to be doing and where we're supposed to be. And so this aspecting that Uranus going retrograde is really giving us an abundance of this intuition leading into a clarity. If we can really sink in and kind of sit back and open up this space to unfold where we're observing ourselves, observing the reality in nature, saying, okay, like, you know, stop trying to initiate all these things and stop trying to, you know, tap into our mind and create what we think we are supposed to do, but really sit back so we can observe ourselves and our motives and look at, oh, okay, like, you know, as I'm feeling this energy to go do this thing or to make this move, if we sit back and let our intuition, let the clarity come, we can see, oh, okay, that action that I've been doing every day, that was motivated by money, or that was motivated by obligation, or whatever it was. But only when we sit back and we're watching, we bringing that mindfulness into the picture, can we see the motives and where these actions have been driven by, right? And with these powerful aspects of the eclipse coming up, especially those of us who are in these realms of self-growth and embodiment, the spiritual ascension, whatever you want to call it, star seeds or light workers or whatever. These are really, really powerful energies coming in with these eclipses. And if we're too busy, you know, sitting on Facebook, texting, or even, you know, doing too much work that's just busy work that we feel like we need to do for whatever reason, we really aren't able to be in receive mode and respond mode and able to be present to notice what it is that the collective, what it is our higher self is calling us to do. And this is also, we have a semi-square going on to Neptune on the 63rd gene key. And basically what semi-squares have to do with, or semi-squares have to do with, is where these things that have been present in our psyche that we were unaware of start to actually manifest as things we need to confront in the external environment, right? Because they've been these repeating patterns over and over again that we've just been kind of going along with and not being present, so it's hard to actually be aware of all of these things. And with it having to do with Neptune in the 63rd, this is like self-doubt, inquiry into our inner truth and what the truth is that's going on here in this reality in our lives about our identity, especially moving into Leo. Leo is all about identity formation, so we've been inquiring into why we have this self-doubt, right? And of course we have the major reason behind self-doubt is if we don't know who we truly are, then, which is the creator of our own experience, then of course we're going to be doubting, you know, can I really make this happen? Am I really living the life that I want to, right? And being Neptune, of course, as well, this has a lot to do with the imagination and fantasy, illusions, constructing this type of inner illusion where we've been tricking ourselves into not realizing that we are actually the one true source of everything that we are experiencing. And so, yeah, these are some of the big things about Uranus going retrograde. It's going to be going retrograde for a while, but these energies being that kind of stamp, that chart on that day, which is August 3rd, are going to kind of be a lot of the themes as it goes retrograde. So really looking into ourselves and sitting back again and looking at how we can take all of this information that we've been learning and that we're learning about being the creators of our own reality and being this collective consciousness that's awakening, really sitting back and taking stock and account of what's going on and paying attention to the details of our motivations. Of course, another interesting thing is we're about to have a Mercury retrograde too. So this is all going and linking together too, because Mercury representing the mind, our communication, and also a lot of these day-to-day travels and activities and things like this. Again, another review period coming up of where is our mind, what is it really used for, which is communication, entertainment, and exploration, and how can we better communicate in our relationships, in our lives, within ourselves about our true identity and what we are really here to do. So then another notable thing I think we have about this week is Saturn's been moving from the 11th gene key, which is around galactic center, which has to do with light and how light interacts within ourselves and how we experience our inner world of the ego structure. It's moving into the 26th gene key, which is basically the core essence of the ego structure in Sagittarius. So this is really interesting. This energy has a lot to do with what they call like the sacred trickster. It's kind of like a chameleon energy that allows, when we surrender to it, allows us to blend in, or if we kind of go the shadow aspect of it, this is like a hard structure of the ego where it's a very kind of like selfish in nature. But I think what's really being called to us right now, moving into this with these eclipses, is seeing how we can really bring that ego structure into alignment with our heart, coming from a place of really being empathizing with the ego and really aligning our identity, our ego structure, into the heart space, which is basically aligning with our soul's identity again, being able to love the ego. And this is truly how we transcend the ego, is not by destroying it or removing it, but is aligning it with our soul's energy, right? And this is again this theme of the actions are coming into alignment, which is Mars with the Sun, and then making aspects to Saturn, which is making aspects to Uranus, which is all about bringing this ego structure to a higher identity in line with our feelings in the heart space of the soul. Alright, so the next big thing that I want to talk about, perhaps even a little bit bigger here, is the lunar eclipse that's going to be going on August 7th. And of course this is directly followed on August 8th by this big, the Lion's Gate 8-8 that everyone's talking about, which is really the starting opening of a big portal that we're going to have going on through also the solar eclipse. Now, this lunar eclipse that's going on, of course, is kind of like, I think it's very synchronistic that it's going on right before this portal. It's kind of like ushering us into this portal on 8-8 for the Lion's Gate. And being a lunar eclipse, again, I think that a big theme of this lunar eclipse is a reflection, right? So we kind of have the sun's reflector, the moon, that's going through this period of darkness, allowing us to really look and reflect on ourselves and what's going on our where we're going in our lives, in our true identity. This being a huge theme, Lionsgate, Leo solar eclipse going on. So this is really all about our soul's higher identity, the identity of this new birthing collective consciousness that's going on. We'll get into that a little bit more in a second. But so the lunar eclipse is taking place in Aquarius on the 13th gene key, which the three major, the shadow, gift, and city of this gate is discord, discernment, and empathy. And this is in direct opposition to its programming partner. The sun's going to be on the 7th gene key, which is division, guidance, and virtue. And then the moon's also going to be making an opposition, although a little bit weaker, to Mars, which is going to be again on that 33rd gene key. And so what is all this about? Well, what we're intuiting is that, so we have this discord, discernment, and empathy making the opposition to the division and guidance and virtue. These gene keys are really all about being able to listen and empathize with both ourselves, our higher identity, and our surroundings. The 7th gene key is really about these kind of new paradigm leaders, okay? And this is where the sun is going to be setting. So what this is showing us, sun is going to be sitting, sorry about that. What this is really going to be showing us is, okay, so for a collective, for a portion of the collective especially right now, we have the soul, the sun, the kind of massive overarching identity really coming online and learning who it truly is, okay, or who we truly are. And this is on this gene key that is all about this gene key that is all about being embodied leaders. But in order to be embodied leaders, we really need to be very empathic, because true leaders aren't those that just make a plan and say, okay, this is what we're doing, this is how we're going to do it, everybody follow me, this is how it's going to be done whether you like it or not, right? The true embodiment of a great leader is one who can tune into the collective, the team, their soul, their higher identity, can really empathize and tune into all of these things to really be able to feel from a heart level what's really needed. And with the moon on this discord, discernment, and empathy, discord really has to do with hierarchy, right? And this is the shadow frequency of this. This is, again, this ego structure, and with the moon on this, it has a lot to do with our emotions, right? So these emotional attachments to this internal hierarchical structure, or once again, placing the power outside of ourselves into an external hierarchical structure like a god, a government, a religion, anything really, a relationship. And so this higher aspect of this is discernment. So once again, sitting back, reflecting on what it is that brings us joy, because only when we come from this place of joy and inspiration and our highest bliss can we truly serve the collective, because the collective really is us. It's our extended self, okay? So if we come from this place of true joy and bliss in what we're doing, that is how we can be of the highest service, right? So it's this kind of polarity reflection in this holographic illusion or dream space that we are creating, that we simultaneously are tuning into what the collective, our higher self, really wants, what it's really calling for, and what we get the most joy in. What is our talent? What is our gift? What is our unique creative thing that we have that we want to bring to to this creative collective dream that's going on. So truly being able to listen to our soul in order to know how it is that we can serve for the greatest and highest purpose. And it's interesting too, because this gene key also has to do with, I'm sure you may have heard the Bible talks about the 144,000, right? Well, the true meaning of this kind of hidden esoteric aspect is the 144,000 has to do with this collective portion of humanity that is birthing what some call the Christ consciousness, which really all this is basically where the nucleus of the cell, the decision-making aspect of us as individuals in a portion of humanity is going from the brain, the nucleus, the ego, the personality, to the solar plexus or the membrane in a more kind of in-tuned collective decision-making structure, basically embodying the soul groups, right? If you've ever seen the show Sense8, this is kind of what's starting to happen right now, and we're going to see more and more of this over the next few years as this collective, new, evolved type of human starts to come online even more. And yeah, so this is what I feel is really going on with this lunar eclipse, and then it's leading into this Lion's Gate, right? So over the next week especially, I think it's really important, especially for those of us that are on this path, that have been going through these ascension symptoms and embodiment, to really sit back, to take a look at where our motivations are, what's driving our daily actions, looking at our mind, where is our mind going throughout the day, looking at the environment, really tuning into a heart space, a feeling space, to be able to pay attention to the signs within the world around us, maybe getting off the computer and the Facebook and the technological things, since Mercury is about to go retrograde as well, and really being able to tune into the energies that are coming in through the environment, through our soul, through this collective dream and this hologram, so that we can really embody the highest aspects of Source Creator, and really bringing forth that which is our highest joy in our unique creative gifts in service to this beautiful dream that we are all dreaming together. So I hope this helps you. If you want more information like this, I hope you check out our Patreon /HugsWorld. And if you really like this information, feel free to sign up for one of our levels or donate. And thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you all having a beautiful week and eclipse and summer and everything that's going on in your life right now.